Hey, welcome back once again to Ask Coach Wendy alongside Wendy Mader from T2 Coaching. I'm Dave Erickson. So it's the week before your marathon. You've put all this time in. Could be a half marathon lead up, could be a full marathon lead up. You may have done it before. Let's talk about some of the things you do the week leading up to your marathon, Wendy.
First and foremost, you rest and recover. You're going to have a lot more time to do things that maybe you have put off because of the training volume that you were doing. And when I say rest and recover, really follow your taper plan. So the taper is just a planned reduction of training volume and training intensity. So by the time you get to the week before the marathon, you're probably going to be running maybe 2 days a week, 2 to 3 miles. It's not much. So you should start to plan ahead. Review your travel schedule. If you're traveling out of state, make sure you bring nutrition with you that you've practiced with, that you like to eat on a daily basis, and you don't want to try to rely on what's offered at the venue if you haven't tried it before. So don't try anything new. Review the course profile again, just to make sure you know, kind of mentally visualizing how you're going to approach that course that you're about to run 26.2 miles on. Continue to eat nutrient-dense foods that you've been eating throughout your marathon training plan, and don't overeat. Your reduction in training volume and intensity is a lot less the week before a marathon. So you want to make sure you're well fueled and your muscle glycogen is all stocked up and tanked up, but you don't want to overdo it, especially when you get down to maybe 48 hours. You want to make sure that 48-hour mark before the marathon that you don't need to do anything different. You don't need to make up for lost time because you had some bad habits for a few days with nutrition. You want to stay hydrated. If you're going to a more humid climate than you're used to training in, it's not a bad idea to add a little bit more electrolyte drink into your daily routine, or just a little bit more water volume into your daily routine, because you might just instantly start to sweat it out when you arrive at the marathon venue.
The topic of carbo loading comes up quite a bit, and one of the suggestions is you begin this carbo loading process 3 days before the race with things like pasta, potatoes, rice, etc. Does that sound right to you?
It does sound right to me. I mean, there's kind of a few probably various ways that people talk about carbo loading and defining carbo loading. What I like to say about that is, if you're hungry, choose a high starchy, rich carbohydrate food versus a high fat or high protein food those days leading up to the marathon, because that's what your body's going to be burning for energy and using for fuel to get you through the marathon. So, eat the things that you normally would eat, but maybe I like to choose more of the higher carbohydrate type foods versus the higher fat and protein foods leading up to a race.
And don't neglect the fruits, vegetables, and protein sources. And don't be surprised, and it is okay, right, to gain a few pounds beforehand because you've lowered that intensity and volume?
You will, and I actually think that's healthy, because that means if you're gaining some water weight, which you want to carry with you going into the marathon, because you're going to sweat it all out over the course of 26.2 miles. So don't be surprised if you do. And kind of plan on it. Kind of get excited if you're up at 2 or 3 pounds race week. It's just your body's way of storing the fuel and storing the hydration needs that you're going to need for your marathon.
So if you're interested or planning to do a half marathon, or maybe you're ready to step it up for the full marathon, we have a couple of options for you. Links below for a half marathon training plan made easy 12 weeks out versus a 16-week program for a full marathon. And you can get that in a PDF form, or, which is my favorite, on Training Peaks. Tell people how they can incorporate Training Peaks with our programs.
So Training Peaks is an online software that many athletes currently use. If you don't have an account, you can create a basic account for free, and you can search Wendy Mader's marathon or half marathon plan made easy and purchase the program from Training Peaks, and it'll download directly into your current Training Peaks account. The benefit is you can download it to start at any date you want to start. So if you're planning a race, 20 weeks away, and you want to purchase the program now just to view it, you can have it start 12 weeks from your race date.
And you own it, so you can reapply it for a future race and keep track of your data, so you can compare this half marathon to the next half marathon, or the next marathon to the next marathon. I love it.
Right. It's a great way to keep track of your training log and your training fitness and progress. So using the plan over and over again, you'll always be using the plan at a different fitness level. And the plan always starts with baseline, so you will always start the plan at your new fitness level, so you can continue to follow the plans at your new fitness level zones.
And each week before the training week, we do a video introduction about what that week's all about. So it's not just numbers on a spreadsheet. There is a lot of educational and a multimedia approach to this program.
Yep.
All right. All the links below this video. In the meantime, Coach, thanks very much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.